So let's pivot to 2010, another collaboration with director Jon Favreau, and this scene from the picture Iron Man 2. I'm drawn to this scene just because of how emotional it is, and it's a discovery in Tony Stark's life. It's a discovery of what he perhaps didn't know up to this moment, what his father really thought of him. And I love this scene here where, you know, he's working and he's watching this video and he's down on himself, and then finally, you know, Mr. Stark says something to him. Let's have a look and a listen.
Tony, you're too young to understand this right now, so I thought I would put it on film for you. I built this for you. And someday you'll realize that it represents a whole lot more than just people's inventions. It represents my life's work. This is the key to the future. I'm limited by the technology of my time. But one day you'll figure this out. And when you do, you will change the world. What is and always will be my greatest creation is you.
This scene here, this moment, is a turning point in Tony Stark's character. And it's a turning point, ultimately, what turns his character to something completely different throughout the additional storytelling that he propels forward with. And and what I love about the music here is that it not only does it very kind of lightly and cleverly speak to the emotional content of what's going on between father and son, but there's still that element, at least I think so, this element of heroism that you can hear. You know, we know that Tony Stark is destined to be a hero of some kind. And so these two interesting bifurcation, you know, against one another. It's I love this scene.
That's really kind of you. I actually, that's one of my favorite scenes too, because that was a crucial scene for us, for John and I. And you know, one of the things I love about John so much is that when he gets you emotionally, you don't see it coming. And I know that because I've now done 5 movies with the guy, and I'm just so blessed to know the guy. But same with Jungle Book or Elf, anything I've done with him, it's not ever overt. And that scene is a good case in point. He, you know, it's very sort of transparent and a little bit electronic. And then when Stark Sr. says the big line, and, you know, even on Tony Stark's face, he doesn't react that broadly. So John wanted the music to say it.
Sure.
And I think that's what's one of the things I love about John so much, is that he's very, there's an economy to the emotionality of what he does. And I think to great effect, because I'm the opposite. I want to write everything big and full of heart and emotion, but that's not always right. That's not always correct. And John seems to have a real handle, you know what I mean, on walking that tightrope from it being cheesy and schmaltzy to really hitting you when it needs to. And I think he's a master at that.
Yeah.
And I know it because I've lived it with him, and Jungle Book was another one of those.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Jungle Book. We have just a little bit of time left. Why don't we quickly pivot to that one?
Sure.
This beautiful scene. I mean, the scope with which Jon Favreau approached this movie, the grandeur, perhaps as it is, required perhaps a great approach on both sides of the spectrum musically, you know, where you have moments that are just truly, truly intimate. And I think this is one of them. But at the same time, you have this grandeur always on the sidelines, right next to it. And this is a scene where we are discovering the power of the elephants.
Whoa, elephants.
Bow your head.
Why?
Show them respect. The elephants created this jungle, where they made furrows with their tusks, the rivers ran. Where they blew with their trunks, the leaves fell. They made all that belong. The mountains, the trees, the birds in the tree. But they did not make you. That is why you must go.
So this scene is not so simple. It might look simple, isolated, but in the context of the larger picture, this is a very, very symbolic scene, and one of my favorite small moments from the film. And you know, a lot of that is due to the music. And you know, you have several very, very important emotions that are playing out as they come through the jungle, and it speaks to the larger macroscopic theme or themes of the entire picture. And I love how eloquently this was approached in the music. There's a sense of nobility, but there's also a sense of seriousness and weight. And I think it's a great scene.
That's so kind of you. I honestly, I think Jungle Book, for me, is one of the things I'm most proud. In terms of scores I've done, people ask, what's your favorite? I don't have favorites. I have favorite filmmakers, but
yeah,
this score was, I'm so proud of it and what John and I accomplished, because early on in the process of that movie, Jon Favreau said, you know what, you're going to have to tell the story here, because I don't know if half of these, this technology is going to work. And it was a challenge. Yeah. He told me, we worked on the thing for 2 years, and he challenged me early. He goes, you know, I don't know. You're going to have to maybe tell the story, because got a bunch of things walking around that I don't know how good they're going to look. You know,
yeah.
He was not kidding. I think he knew how great it was going to look, obviously. But that score, there's very little dialogue in that whole movie. And so John would tell me all the time, he goes, you know, you got to tell us the story. You got to tell us the story, because you know, we got a jungle, you know, and in this particular scene that you highlighted, which is also one of my favorite scenes in the movie, there had to be a sense of grandeur and nobility. I mean, you know, the elephants are the nobles of the jungle. I mean, they're, you know, everybody looks up to them, and they're like royalty, obviously. Mm-hmm. So there had to be the elephants definitely had their own theme. Mowgli has an overall theme. Shere Khan had a theme,
yeah,
or a feeling. And so all of it's really specific. And that particular scene was tough. I did many different variations to get it just right for John, because he wanted it. He loved the French horn. The French horn's playing the melody, and it's not a terribly complex melody. It's really chordal. It's really kind of chords with a big horn theme on it. But it just sort of worked at the end of the day. And even where the little baby elephant turns and looks, we went up, did another chord change just to kind of highlight that look.
Yeah.
So you're really, I mean, you're very perceptive, and because I know you so well, I knew you'd pick that up. That scene, although kind of short, was a very important scene early in the movie. Yeah. And I think we got it. And I'm really proud of what we did on that movie. Yeah. And I think John, I mean, he'd hate me for saying this, but he should have been nominated for that. This guy, I mean, what?
He's a massive talent.
Academy Award already,
he's
really?
A massive talent,
you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think he deserved it. That was a groundbreaking film. And now since then, obviously, The Lion King and Mandalorian, he's up in the bar. But I was there for that, and that had never been done.
Yeah,
before.
as they'd say in Swingers, he's so money. He's so money, you know,
so money.
all the way back. So let's end with a space battle. It's always fun to end with battles. This is a space battle from Seth MacFarlane's The Orville from 2019, season 2, episode 8, The Identity Part 1 or Identity Part 1.
Love it.
Let's just have some fun with this. Let's look at it. And I just want to hear, because this is, for me, knowing so much of your music and admiring everything that you've done over the years, now all of a sudden having this silly, serious, fun opportunity to play with Seth MacFarlane, who is a hero of mine. And I take him seriously, and I take him on the comedic side. He's one of those brilliant artists that's able to do it all.
Captain, can you hear me?
We're losing main power. Engines too, some kind of dampening field.
Commander, every hatch and airlock on the ship just opened up. We're being boarded.
Well, thanks for playing that clip, Justin. I tell you, one of the greatest joys for me in the last few years has been to get to know Seth MacFarlane and to work on The Orville. I mean, this guy, Seth, is, every week we have a huge orchestra. I think you've been to sessions.
Yes, thank you. It was a great invitation. That was a fun day. That was a really fun day.
Fun? And so Seth's mantra to us that are lucky enough to work on the show is, make it as big as it can be, and do you need any more strings? And that's
wow.
That does not happen. I mean, nobody in these days of of lowered budgets, which happens, especially in TV. So Seth is just a joy to work with. He's a consummate musician. He knows his movie, and he knows every beat of his, of each episode. And so, I mock everything up, and as do the other composers on the show. And we just have a ball. We really do. And the orchestra, our friends in the orchestra have just nailed it. And they play so beautifully, take after take after take.
Yeah.
And the music is really difficult to play. As you just heard with that ending of that I did. And what can I say? It's a dream job. It truly is a dream job. And I think we're all going to be working on season 3, once everything loosens up and gets back to some kind of normal.
Yeah.
But I can't say enough about him. He is kind, even when he has a note. He's it's a very nice note. He has lots of respect for us and what we're trying to do with the show. And, the care that he takes with the show, it shows. They're magnificent. They're like little movies every week. So it's been a joy.
And certainly, it's kind of coming almost full circle in the way that when you were coming up and starting your career, it was normal to have these types of orchestras available, which, you had the opportunity to, of course, work on Star Trek from time to time, and you had this, and then it went away, and as you say, it is very unique and rare to have that. So what a great opportunity. If there's anything else you'd love to add, please do. Otherwise, thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
My pleasure, Justin. I would just say, dream big. And, John Williams once told me, I don't know, it always goes back to John, doesn't it? John or Jerry?
Yes, sir, it does.
And I remember going backstage. You might have been there that night a few years ago. And he had just done E.T. to picture. Remember that? It was like a few years ago. And I went backstage. It was nice enough to get backstage. And I remember having a moment with John and just saying, "Oh, Maestro, you know, E.T. was magnificent." And I said, and that theme will forever be in my heart as one of my favorite themes. Oh, really? You know, I'm gushing, right?
Yeah,
I'm gushing.
Yeah, right.
Because I always get tongue-tied with John and Jerry and people like that. And John would have nothing of it. He just told me, "Oh, baby, you know, I'll get it right next time." It's like, it's a decent little tune. You know, and I just thought, and he was so sweet. And then he looked, you know, and he looks you deep in the eye and he goes, "I am so impressed by your work." You know, and by the way, I have no idea if John has ever heard any of my work, nor do I care.
Sure.
But just the kindness, and you know this, Justin, as someone that knows him, the kindness of the man to, you know, take a moment and go, "Oh, your work," you know. And I don't know, that just means so much to me. And it's a tribute to the way to live your life. And, you know, I'm lucky enough to write music for a living and I never take it for granted. I'm just lucky to be here with you. Well, and I get to know you, and we're talking about wonderful things that we might do together in the future. So it's wonderful. So we always have to remember the words of JW.
Absolutely. You know, absolutely. Well, with that, we all look forward to whatever's upcoming with you, and the next output is always something we look forward to. So again, thank you, Mr. Debney, for this amazing time you've given us. And for all of you out there, we will see you next time for Film Music Focus.
Brought to you by Santa Concerts.